Looks like Millet might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt screw the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Chicago. Since opening for business in 2001, Chicagoland has established a rich history in its first decade of operation, particularly in IndyCar competition. In a series renowned for its photo finishes, the IndyCar Series has produced the two closest in series history at Chicagoland, with Sam Hornish Jr. beating Al Unser Jr. by 24 thousandths in 2002. And Elio Castroneves wiping Scott Dixon by 33 thousandths in the 2008 season finale. Of course, neither Dario Franchitti nor Scott Dixon will soon forget the 2007 contest that saw the Scotsman win the race and the IndyCar Series title when Dixie ran out of fuel a half a lap from the finish. Chicagoland is no less competitive when the race cars sport fenders. In fact, Kyle Busch is the only driver to win a Cup Series race at Chicagoland from the pole, and only one other driver, Kevin Harvick, is qualified in the top 10 and won. Harvick also has the distinction of coming from the deepest in the field, 32nd, to win at Chicagoland, while Dale Earnhardt Jr., 25th, and Tony Stewart, 19th, also emerged victorious after starting deep in the field. Tonight, it's race number 10 of the Noble Racing Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Chicagoland Speedway for race number 10 of the Noble Racing Series. Let's take a look at the race details tonight. 73-degree ambient temperature here at the Speedway. 43% humidity, nice and dry. Cloudy skies, almost no breeze to speak of at 1 mile per hour. Track temperature at 88 degrees. Plenty of grip available out there in this 1.53-mile oval. Now, I say oval, you can see it here on the map. There's really no straight section here, so talk about an oval. Yeah, there is a tri-oval here in the start-finish section of the raceway. More details, though. Fuel percentage tonight, 100%, and 2 sets of tires available over the wall for the drivers to work with. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Joe Tucker, the fastest thus far. 29.69 for the 39 of Michael Tucker. Zach Millett second quick with a 71. Vincent Short is 72, and McCann a 73. 29.77 the time for the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Sits fifth on the timing tower. Millett Drifting through turn one, having a little fun here at the end of practice. Zero on the stopwatch here in the practice session, so black and red flags waving here at start finish. We're going to get right into qualifying. Somewhat small field here at 16 cars this evening. The only thing that means is a little less congestion as far as traffic is concerned. Will Hewitt first to park his number 33 machine at the end of pit road here. We'll see him pull out here and begin his qualifying attempt. Hewitt out of Mayfield, New York. Hewitt working that high line. We did see that was one of the faster ways around this speedway. A little piece of the wall there for Will Hewitt. I don't know if that will negate his lap or not. He's still in the throttle here, and he has another opportunity at his second lap. Will Hewitt way down to the flat, crosses the stripe. Timing, it does count at 29.91 for Will Hewitt, a very stellar lap. Meanwhile, Vincent Short goes outside pole for a moment, but Keaton Burnett goes top of the charts at a 29.90. Hewitt with a 91, Short with a 98. Jesse Redding now fifth quick with a 30.16 as Mike Tucker goes 29.86, puts himself on top of the board. We'll watch Vincent Short now back to start finish. At the line. Third quick, 29.891 for Vincent Short, drops down to P4 for the time being. Mefford was fifth quick in practice, a 30.12 his first lap, possibly a throwaway. Again, want to clarify again, that top line, the Larson line as some would call it, seems to be the fast way around. I don't know if it's going to be that way long term. You may not see that throughout the race. Maybe some bottom feeders to contend with. Second lap for Mefford, it's quick as well, 29.802. Eric Beadle in the 119. Eric out of Clayton, New York. Beadle's custom car carriers on the hood of that Chevrolet. Beadle down into turns 3 and 4. A little wiggle off of 4, nothing to be too concerned with. Keeps it up on the racetrack, crosses the line, finishes up his second lap, stays the same 35.15. It is a pickup, but not significant. Matt Sisler, his number 93 Kia Stinger. Sisler on the back stretch. Won't really call it a straight because it's not. We'll catch some drivers out here tonight. It's deceiving, and it is definitely out of the ordinary from what they're used to. That back straightaway is just slightly curved, and if you're not careful, you can drive your car into the wall without even knowing it. Sisler at 29.98 first lap. Ten-minute session to get it done here. We're just past 4 minutes, so still some time left. Handful of drivers that have yet to take a time. Brian McCann, Matt Kopp, Doug Wysocki, Mark Truxell, Zach Millett, Chris Gones. Sisler across the stripe. Fifth quick, 29.831 for Matt Sisler, the number 93. Chris Goins 11th on his first lap with a 47. Meanwhile, Drew Prale has gone top of the chart. 29.71 for the number 80. Ryan McCann jumps up to P2 with a 75, just a slight bit faster than Michael Tucker. Goins across the line here. Does he improve? He does with the time, but not in position. 30.171 for Chris Goins. So as of now, it's Drew Prale, Ryan McCann, Michael Tucker, Brandon Mefford, Matt Sisler, your top 5, but still some heavy hitters to come. Matt Kopp, Doug Wysocki, Mark Truxell, Zach Millett still need to take a time. Millett on the backstretch, just coming up to speed on his outlap. Millett takes the green flag into turns 1 and 2. Second quick in the practice session. We'll see if he can back it up or even improve. Millett also running that ultra high line. First lap in the books for the 315. Where does he land? 12th, 30.203. We'll see if Zach can pick it up. He's got work to do if he's going to knock Drew Prale off the pole position. Millett looking smooth through 3 and 4. Pulls it hard to the bottom of the racetrack. Fourth quick, 29.765 for Zach Millett. So 3 drivers haven't taken the time yet. Matt Kopp, Doug Wysocki, and Mark Truxell. They may opt not to and just choose to start towards the rear of the field. With that said, we're going to jump out, get a break out of the way while we're wrapping up this session. We'll be back with our starting grid after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, let's take a look at our starting grid for race number 10 of the Noble Racing Series. On the pole position with a lap time of 29.715, it's the 80 of Drew Prail. Outside front row, it's the 3 of Brian McCann, 37 thousandths shy of pole. Mike Tucker will start in the third spot with Right Turn Racing. Zach Millett to his outside. Brandon Mefford, the number 83, will start in the fifth spot. Matt Sisler rolls sixth. Keaton Burnett starts in the seventh position. The 33 of Will Hewitt with Outcast Racing, he'll start eighth. Ninth goes to Vincent Short. And Jesse Redding, last week's winner in the Num Thumbs Racing Series out of Dover, starting in the 10th spot. Joe Tucker starts 11th. 12th goes to Chris Goins. 13th starter belongs to Eric Beadle in the 119. Mark Truxell didn't take a time in qualifying. He'll start 14th. Same can be said for Doug Wysocki and Matt Kopp as they round out the field in 15th and 16th starting position. Before we get too deep into things here, let's take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Brian McCann, your standings leader with 445 points, almost a full race lead on Brandon Mefford with 403. Then Zach Millett, third in the point standings, keeping in mind Millett has missed 2 races this season. He still manages to sit within the top 3. Chris Goins, 4th. Neil Quick, 5th. Will Hewitt, Matt Sisler, 6 and 7. Drew Prail, 8th. 9th, Michael Tucker. 10th, Vincent Short. That's your top 10 in the point standings, and the rest as follows. Field rolling off the grid here in through turns 1 and 2 at the time being. Again, a little bit shorter field than we're used to here in the Noble Racing Series. 16 cars showing up to do battle here at Chicagoland Speedway. Truck about to make the hard left down pit road.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air. Drew Prail coming up to speed. Good reaction out of Brian McCann as well. Brian McCann edges to the outside of Drew Prail. Prail really loose off turn number 2, and he put a little too much power down. He loses it, gets it into the grass, keeps it off the safer barrier, but he's going to give up all of that track position. Goes from first to worst in just the first half lap. Back to the action, Brian McCann out in front over Michael Tucker. In the third position, then it's Matt Sisler, Brandon Mefford, your top 5. Brian McCann out in front over Michael Tucker. Sisler still in the third spot. Zach Millett running back in the 5th position. Millett looked like he was going for the 2nd spot on that opening lap, but then Drew Prail slings it down to the bottom of the racetrack, got sideways and spins through the grass. I don't know if it caught Millett's attention, threw off his concentration, but he slipped back to the 5th position. Meanwhile, Brian McCann trying to hold off the charge from Mike Tucker. Big wiggle out of the 39. Tucker keeps his foot in it. Sun's starting to peek out here at Chicagoland Speedway. That may change the conditions here at the racetrack. Remember, it was an 88-degree track temperature earlier on in qualifying. It's now down to 86, but I expect that to come up just slightly now that the cloud cover is starting to give way to some sunshine. Oh, real loose. Tucker off turn number 2. He keeps it straight. Tucker pushing for all he's got. Might be a little bit early for that here, coming to 8 laps in. Tucker taking a look to the bottom there on the flat of the racetrack at start-finish, but doesn't gain enough to make a move into turn 1. Tucks back in behind Brian McCann, a car length off the back bumper of the 3. Out of turn number 2. We ride on board with Michael Tucker. Working the outside lane for the time being. Drops it back down to the bottom. Top 2 separated by just 1 car length as they come back to start finish. 10 laps go up on the board. Tucker might seem a little bit faster. In fact, last lap he was just about 2 to 4 hundredths quicker than Brian McCann. Now at the line here, Tucker was a little bit slower, 2 hundredths off of Brian McCann. McCann ran a 30.61, Tucker a 30.63. Sisler still running in the 3rd position. Brandon Mefford 4th. And Zach Millett rounding out the top 5. All of these drivers relatively unchallenged, at least for now. The only real battle on the racetrack to speak of is Brian McCann and Michael Tucker. This would be the battle for the top spot. Now remember, we've got a stage break coming up here at lap 40, at the conclusion of lap 40. We've heard from some drivers that the fuel can only go between 38 and 42 laps, depending on how hard you push the race car. So you might need to save a lap or 2 of fuel to make it to the stage break without having to stop. It's going to be right on the edge. Keaton Burnett in the 10th position, just behind Joe Tucker. This would be for the 9th spot. Keaton taking a look to the inside. Nothing doing there. Chris Goins just ahead of both of these two. Goins now up 4 positions. Started 12th. Up in the 8th spot. Putting pressure on Joe Tucker. Tucker swings to the outside. He's going to try and set up Chris Goins for a pass here. He's going to have some speed off turn number 2, but does he have anywhere to go with it? Tucker has to look back to the inside, but not enough there as well. Tucks in behind, stays with Chris Goins, continues to work the outside. Goins, into that number 41, as close to that bottom line, that white line on the inside, the best that he can. Quick Esports in the chat says Tucker's right front tire. Go Mike. You know how it's only lap 11, right? We'll see this come to fruition. In fact, he did lose some ground to the 3 of McCann here since we've cut back to some other battles in the field. He was right to the back bumper, a tenth and a half off. Now it's quarter second, maybe almost 3/10. Tucker's got to reel in Brian McCann once again. Might be abusing that right front tire. Neil Quick doesn't make the field here tonight. He's going to lose a bunch of points. Was top 5 in the standings coming into this evening. Unfortunately, not here at Chicagoland. Matt Sisler under pressure. Brandon Mefford taking a look to the inside in turn 3. Uncontested. Looks like Sisler's going to stay there in the top lane. Might not even fight for a position. Mefford gets clear. Not quite, but Sisler gets a piece of the wall. That's not going to help his cause at all. Chastity Tucker in the chat says, "Let's go, Tucker boys." Thanks for checking in as always. So Sisler loses the 3rd spot. He's about to lose the 4th position to Zach Millett. Millett running the bottom as well. Millett dipping the left sides in the grass, just a slight bit. I don't know if that's helping or not. Here in front of Zach Millett. Millett has reduced his aggression level here on the 93 as the 33 of Will Hewitt starting to close in. Millett goes to the high side. Will Hewitt goes with him. Millett might have had an opportunity there to go around on the outside, but Will Hewitt goes even further up the racetrack. He's going to have a massive run out of 4, but nowhere to really go with it. Mefford and Sisler drop it down to the apron. Millett still staying to the outside. Might have the 93 clear out of turn number 2. We'll see if he can pull that pass off. Millett finally gets clear of Matt Sisler. Will Hewitt trying to follow him through and do the same. Saw how close to the outside wall that Hewitt was in qualifying. He doesn't seem scared to do it this time during the race either. Certainly enticing to use the high side here at Chicagoland. Force of just raw pace. But you're going to burn your tires up if you do it too often. Three-car battle for position. Zach Millett in 4th. Will Hewitt, Matt Sisler as they run 4th, 5th, and 6th. Checking out Vincent Short. He's running in the 7th position. Up 2 spots, started 9th here this afternoon. We got Nikki Short in the stream chat. Says, time for racing, go Short. Allison Rose has Big Tucker support, and there certainly is every single week. Tucker's got the biggest fan club out there. And I'm referring to both of them, Michael and Joe. Michael still running in the 2nd position. Joe Tucker back in 9th. Still making forward progress. Millett closing in on these two, Mike Tucker and Brandon Mefford. Mefford drops to the inside, trying to take the 2nd spot from Michael Tucker. Tucker in the 39, still to the outside, slips up the racetrack in front of Zach Millett. Billet with a big run down the back straightaway into turn number 3. He gets clear of Brandon Mefford, now to the inside. Billet took third with ease and might have second here before this lap is out, but no, Mike Tucker still battling it out on the outside of the 315. Now Brandon Mefford trying to battle back to retake his position, not able to do it as he walks back in behind Zach Billet. Billet all over the back bumper of Michael Tucker once again into turn 3. And Mike Tucker in the fence. I don't know if Mike was looking in his mirror a little bit too much, but he didn't get his turn in just right, and he got into the outside wall just slightly. Loses a couple of spots out of it, so Mike Tucker slips back to 4th. Meanwhile, Zach Billet runs 2nd. Brandon Mefford up to 3rd. Will Hewitt real loose off turn number 2. He's going to lose a spot to Vincent Short here. Hewitt back to P7. Check on our pole sitter, Drew Prell. Remember, he almost spun, got real loose and then to drive it through the infield grass out of turn 2 on the opening lap. Prell lost a ton of track position, currently running in the 15th spot. As long as he can stay on the lead lap, which I'm sure he'll be able to do, he should be okay. Again, the stage break coming up here, completion of lap 40. Getting everybody caught back up. Tay Rose says, come on, Tucker boys. Man, how many Tucker fans do we got out there? There's a lot. We got Tay Rose, Allison Rose, Chastity Tucker. Looks like NS Vengeance, the Tucker family. There's a few. Quick Esports says, good racing. So far, so good. No cautions to speak of. We got one that's planned here again, our stage break coming at lap 40. Checking on the race leader, Brian McCann, maintaining just about a 2-second advantage over Zach Millett, but that number is starting to shrink ever so slightly. It's 1.8, 1.79, maintains there. McCann gets a better run into turn number 1 than Millett. We'll see if that changes up as Millett gets into the corner. There he is. Yeah, McCann got a really good run in and out of 1 and 2. Unfortunately for Neil Quick, he picked a bad race to not be a part of. So far, it's been pretty good. Not a huge field, a little bit more room to get away from each other. I think Neil Quick would have been a top 3 for sure. As it stands, it's Brian McCann over Zach Millett, 2 seconds back. Then it's Brandon Mefford now all over the back bumper. On a car length off of Zach Millett. Millett goes up the racetrack. Mefford was there, he was within a car length, but now Michael Tucker is starting to reel the 83 back in. Quick Esports says, taking a hiatus off. Fair enough, brother. Just saying we miss you out here. Mefford in third still, but a hard-charging Michael Tucker all over the back bumper, trying to get those third-place points for the stage. We're just a handful of laps away from completion of this stage. We only get one of them. It's not quite a halfway break, but we do it early. Forces a little bit of fuel strategy for the balance of the run. Trying to check some other battles here on the speedway. Will Hewitt and Vincent Short. Hewitt has the 6th position for the time being, but Hewitt gets in the fence. Slows his momentum slightly, not enough for Vincent Short to take advantage. So Short still running 7th, Will Hewitt 6th. Hewitt up the racetrack again. He might get a piece, and he does. Scrapes the right sides of the safer barrier another time. Short now, he definitely has the advantage. Gets on by, takes the spot. So does Chris Gomes. So move Will Hewitt back to 8th. Chris Gones to the inside on Vincent Short for position. Oh, big wiggle for Chris Gones. Keeps it out of the fence. Gets clear. Vincent Short, though, takes that 6th spot. Started 7th, so he's working his way back towards the front. I don't know if he just ran it real ginger early stages of this race, taking care of the tires the best that he can. He's starting to work his way back closer to the front. We are on the final lap of the stage. Out of turn number 4, Brian McCann's going to win this stage. Expect to see the caution to come out in just a moment.
Caution is out. All right, talk to me, Goose.
So there's the caution. Lap 41, effectively. Brian McCann, your stage winner. Here McCann cutting off the fuel. We knew it was going to be close. So the field catches the iRacing pace truck on the backstretch here, getting into turn number 3. We'll see if the pits open up this time. It might be too early. We'll see. And pits are open, so Brian McCann, Zach Millett, Brandon Mefford, the top 3, going to roll into pit lane to get their service work completed. But 4th place on back, there's Matt Sisler, then Chris Gones, Vincent Short, Keaton Burnett, Will Hewitt, Mark Truxell, and then Drew Prale. Prale up into the 10th spot. nice and easy as Brian McCann into his pit stall. Right sides go in the air. So 4 tires and fuel for Brian McCann. Looks to be the same recipe for Zach Millett and Brandon Mefford. Quickest stop of the 3, it was Brandon Mefford. Mefford ran a 14:78 in his pit time. Millett 15:18, Brian McCann a 14:95. So with that, we're going to step aside, get a break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, getting
Green
ready
flag,
to
green
go back
flag.
to the green flag. In fact, there it is. It waves, and we're back underway in Chicago. Brian McCann off turn 4, back to start finish, just over a half second ahead of the 83. Of Brandon Mefford, Millett back in the 3rd spot, Sisler 4th, and 5th is Keaton Burnett. Big time battling back here, Sisler all over the back bumper of Millett, and Will Hewitt working on Keaton Burnett. Hewitt to the inside. Just like that, gets a big run out of 2 and gets clear into 3. Now alongside Matt Sisler. Sisler makes the run to the outside and clears Zach Millett. Sisler being awful defensive right now, knowing Will Hewitt's in behind him. Hewitt's fast. Hewitt up top, another big run out of the turn 2, gets to the inside of the 93 of Sisler, into turn number 3, may have the spot. It's clear for now if he wants to slide it up the racetrack. And he does, gets clear, so move Will Hewitt up into the 3rd position. So top 3, it's Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Will Hewitt. 4th is Matt Sisler, Keaton Burnett runs 5th, and Zach Millett back in P6. Not sure the story here with the 315. He's lost a ton of ground. Falling into the clutches now with Chris Gomes. Side-by-side 4 position. This is for the 6th spot. Chris Gomes in the Popple Dodge to the outside, the number 41. Zach Millett to the inside in the black number 315. Audi stylings on his machine. Quick Esports in the chat says 315 fuel saving. It could be. Fuel and or tires. Again, they only had 2 sets coming into tonight. They can only go between 38 and 42 laps on a full tank of fuel, not a set of tires. They can certainly go longer than that, because they're going to have to at one point. Let's ride on board with Zach Millett and listen in. Quick in the chat hits the nail on the head. Zach Millett definitely saving fuel. And how do we know that? Well, listen and watch the tach. You hear him get out of the throttle into the clutch. RPMs drop down to almost nothing. Just about the apex, he picks the throttle back up and continues on. But that does help save fuel if you do it every single lap. Problem is you're going to lose some ground, but may help you either put less fuel in it later on, or if you're really good, you can avoid a 3rd pit stop. We'll see if that ends up happening. Millett has powered up just a little bit more here, headed out Drew Prail and Michael Tucker. Prail and Tucker battling it out for the 7th position. Tucker looking to the inside here at start-finish. Meanwhile, Chris Gomes, he's got Mark Truxell to his outside, and Doug Wysocki is taking a look there in behind as well. So far, Gomes is clear of both drivers. Meanwhile, change for the race lead here up front. Brandon Mefford has caught and cleared Brian McCann. So it's just about a lap ago. Let's take a look at the pass for the race lead here. Happened just recently. Looks like Mefford gets to the outside here at start-finish. Carries the momentum into turns 1 and 2. Stays to the outside of Brian McCann. Took him some time to get the pass completed. Still there alongside, finally clear into turn 3. So that's how Brandon Mefford took the top spot away. Top 4 drivers certainly not saving fuel right now, and the top 2 for sure, definitely not. Mefford and McCann still fighting for that position. Now Will Hewitt in 3rd, Matt Sisler in 4th. All 4 of these drivers have really stretched out their advantage over the rest of the field. Keaton Burnett running in 5th. Drew Prail not too far behind, is just taking a spot from Zach Millett. Takes a lot of discipline to save fuel like that, especially when you're a really fast driver out there, knowing you're capable of being in that top 3. To run at a reduced pace, knowing that it really attributes to the end goal, and that's winning the race. It's still not easy. If you're a racer, you want to pass everybody. It's just the way that it goes sometimes. See if Millett can get it done on strategy, as we're just about halfway here at Chicagoland. One more lap. Brian McCann battling Battling back for the race lead here to the inside of Brandon Mefford into turn number 3. Again, with a run out of 2, gets alongside the 83, completes the pass off turn number 4, and McCann goes back to the point, coming to lap 60. Half distance here at Chicagoland Speedway. We're going to step aside. Don't worry, won't miss a minute of the action here. We're going to go HBR TV side by side. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marcos Garza.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, we continue to watch this battle between Chris Gomes and Michael Tucker for the 7th position. Those of you in the stream chat wishing me well, thank you, I do appreciate that. I'll survive. Just glad I got a cough button, otherwise it'd get real annoying real fast. Meanwhile, Chris Gones has put some distance on Michael Tucker, and Tucker is got a rear view mirror full of the 26 of Keaton Burnett. This now for the 8th position. Brian McCann maintains the top spot over Brandon Mefford and Matt Sisler. Hewitt fourth, and Drew Prale has worked his way up into the fifth position. Remember, he started on pole. Had a little miscalculation off turn 2 to start the race. Take a look at it again. Lap 1 here. This was Drew Prale. Did a great job to slide that thing through the grass and keep it off that inside wall. Not a great way to start the race when you had such a great lap in qualifying. Prale under attack now. Zach Millett reeling him in. We're within 10 laps here. We should start to see some green flag pit stops. May go a little bit further just because those pit stops happen under caution. Of course, there was a couple of caution laps after the fact. Extends that fuel window out just a little bit further, but within the next 10 laps or so, you should see guys begin to start at least thinking about pit stops. They're going to want to go to at least lap 80 if they want to make it to the finish. Now again, driving technique can affect that as far as how you save fuel out on the racetrack. You may be able to push that a little bit further. But with Millett saving fuel the way that he was, I think he's got this set up as a 2-stop race. Prale in the fence off turn 2. Going to open the door for Millett. Millett to the inside and very easily takes the spot away. So move Millett up into the top 5 late in this fuel run. Back out front, Brian McCann still in charge. He's led the most laps to this point. I don't think anybody can take it away from him right now. Mefford 3/4 of a second off the back bumper. That's Matt Sisler. He's a ways back, over 3 seconds back from the race leader. Eddie Rose in the stream chat. You could not say anything and still be better than most broadcasting. Well, I still got to call the race, Eddie. I know it looks pretty and it's nice and clean and clear, but it'd be a pretty boring race if we couldn't call it. Sisler having a strong run here. Again, started 6th tonight. Didn't take too long to get up into the top 5, and he's maintained this 3rd position throughout most of this run. Will Hewitt having a strong run, even though he's gotten the fence a couple of times. It was very minor impacts, just kind of scraping the right side of the car into the safer barrier. It's a risk that you run. Take that high line. Still working it as Millett gets to the inside off 4. Millett dives to the bottom of the racetrack on the flat. Quick Esports. I agree with Eddie. Steve, best in the business. Love the pit road camera angle on pit stops. Actually got 3 pit lane cameras. But don't thank me for that. Thank Whiplash Sim Cams. Andrew at Pit Stop TV, also with Whiplash Sim Cams. He's the one that builds those camera packs for us. I'll do it in a pinch, but he does such a good job, I really don't like to. Will Hewitt has slipped back into the 6th position. Drew Prale back in the top 5. Millett 4th, Sisler 3rd, Brandon Mefford in 2nd, and Brian McCann still well in command of this race. Vincent Short running back in the 11th spot. Lost a couple of positions from the start. Started 9th. McCann's had some quick times in practice. And it's not really indicative of the kind of race you're going to have. You can be fast in a one-lap environment with nobody else on the racetrack. A bunch of other race cars out there, it disturbs the air a whole lot. Aerodynamic issues come into play. Jones running in the 6th position, not too far off the back bumper of the 80 of Drew Prowl. Jonesy would love to get up into that top 5. But here we are, lap 80 as McCann crosses the stripe well into turns 1 and 2. This is when we start keeping our eyes open for some green flag pit stops. This separates the men from the boys. McCann stays out on the track. He's trying to build as much insurance as possible. They know if they pit right now, they can all make it to the end from here. But of course, a green-white checkered finish, that would throw a big curveball into the mix. They wouldn't necessarily have enough fuel to make it for more than one. They might make one. But I think we've got 2 available to us. Double check to verify that. Yes, indeed, 3 green-white checkered finishes available if necessary. But again, the way this race has gone, I don't know that we're going to need it. We've gone green flag to this point, with the exception of our stage break. Certainly no cautions due to cause. Meanwhile, Will Hewitt does hit pit lane. Outside of the top 5, and he decided to come down, get his last set of tires. I'm going to make that assumption. Yes, indeed, right side goes in the air. It's good to see Goodyear's back on these cars. Took Iron Racing a little while to correct that. It was General for the longest time, and in fact, some of the paint schemes still have that General sticker. But yeah, the Gen 4 Cup car, they ran Goodyear's. Michael Tucker in the pits as well. He's been a fast stallion out there all race long. Currently sits in the 14th position now that he's on pit road, but these better tires should give him a bit of an advantage when he gets back out there. But he overshoots the pit box, has to back it up just a hair. Four tires in fuel for Mike Tucker, a 16-second stop. Certainly not ideal. Lost, I would say, probably a full second in the pits. Mark Truxell, Eric Beadle, all in pit lane. Quick Esports says short pit Hewitt. Got to try something. We've said it a million times in these broadcasts. If you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. You got to try and do something different. Maybe luck will fall your way. Maybe get a time to caution. You never know. Mark Truxell down and away. Brandon Mefford in his pit stall slides to a stop. Gets into the box clean. Right side's in the air. Matt Sisler pulls in just behind. Brian McCann still out in front with the race lead. He's going to be in good shape here for fuel to the end, even with the green-white checkered finish at least. At least one. Brian McCann in good shape there. Drew Prowl now off the racetrack into the pits as well. Prowl slowly stops in that number 1 pit stall. Right side tires go in the air. Brian McCann also now off pit, on pit road from the race lead. He's going to yield that race lead to Zach Millen, who frankly, I don't know. I know he's saved a bunch of fuel to try to extend this. If he's smart about it, he's going to come to pit road the next time by, knowing that the leader, Brian McCann, been so fast here tonight. The moment he takes tires, I think he's going to come the next time by, because he's going to be really fast that next time out. 4 tires and fuel for Brian McCann. He should be good to go to the end. Millet stays out. Very interesting. I know we've got some strategists in the stream chat here tonight. Personally, I don't think it was a great call for Millet to stay on the racetrack. If I'm wrong, fill me in. Wouldn't be the first time. Millet stays out yet again. He's losing track position every lap, and you see Brian McCann's there right on his back bumper, a car length or 2 off the back bumper. Fresh tires, you can see how fast he's going to blow by the 315. I just don't know if I like this strategy. It's been a very, very clean race thus far. Only 1 caution for the stage. Even worst case, 38 laps on a tank of fuel. Now Millet finally coming down pit lane. I don't know. Dare I say Millet may be a lap down when this is over. We'll see. As it is, he still has the race lead. Be 4 tires. He's lost the lead. He's back to 3rd. Drops the jack and goes. He's back to P6. He's still got to get up to speed. So Mark Truxell goes by. Chris Goins goes by. Now, I don't know. We do have 31 laps remaining here, so Millet has got some time to try and reel these guys in, but there's going to be that point, that tipping point where it really won't make a difference. Millet's going to have about 3 lap fresher tires than the race leaders. At some point during that run, those tires are going to be pretty equal. You know, unless Millet's been saving like crazy this entire race, he really hasn't had the pace to reel in the leaders and keep up, which is extremely rare for the 315. He does run in the 8th position. Meanwhile, out front, it's Brandon Mefford instead of Brian McCann. Mefford came down a couple of laps after, a couple of laps before Brian McCann. So there you see the advantage. It's kind of the undercut, as they say in Formula One. Come down, get fresh tires. It gives you that ability to run faster lap times. You can pick up the pace, gain track position on the racetrack while your competitors are on old tires. That's why I thought when McCann came down, we would have expected to see Zach Millet hit pit road almost right away. Millet stayed out to lap 89 versus McCann's lap 86. We'll see how it plays out. With that, though, we're going to step aside for our final HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, Brian McCann still with this race well in hand. Lap 101. He's led the most all day, and that cannot be changed. He's led more than anybody else can make up, even if you parked it right now. So McCann just looking to finish things off, trying to take that checkered flag when this thing comes to its end. Brandon Mefford running back in the second spot. Matt Sisler runs third. Michael Tucker and Will Hewitt rounding out the top five. Checking on Zach Millett in the 6th position. Again, he waited about 3 or 4 laps to come down and get his pit work done once Brian McCann hit the pit lane. As you see, Will Hewitt having an issue getting the wall off turn 2. So Millett now up into the 5th spot, but he's still back 10.5 seconds off the race lead. He's got work to do, a lot of it at that. And with his last lap being a 31.01, Brian McCann was a 31.26. Yes, it is slower, but it's not slow enough for Millett to be able to reel him in. Millett's got to pick up over half a second a lap from here on in if he's going to try and even make an effort here for the race win. Now a caution would change that, but we really haven't had too many of those tonight. In fact, just the one for our stage break. Meanwhile, battle for position, Will Hewitt, Chris Goins for the 6th spot. Goins goes around the outside. Will Hewitt continuing to fight back on the bottom. Jesse Redding, the 13th place driver here on the racetrack. First car 1 lap down if we were to get a caution. Except for Redding, he's 2 laps down. Tucker, Beadle, and Short, Joe Tucker that is, appear to be out of this race. They still remain in pit lane, and they have been there for quite some time. Checking out Michael Tucker once again as he tries to reel in Chris Goins. Goins with the 5th position. Michael Tucker just a car length, maybe 2. Off the rear spoiler of the 41 Popple Pro Dodge. Seems as soon as anybody gets close to Chris Goins, he finds a new gear. He's able to put some distance on the car that's trailing. Tucker having a little issue there off turn number 4, has to chase it up the racetrack, loses some ground. So that may open the door for Will Hewitt. Hewitt way up the racetrack, just barely off the outside wall. Oh, big wiggle again for the 39, trying to keep it below the 33 of Will Hewitt. So Tucker loses yet another spot. Move Will Hewitt up into P6. Millett switching things up here. Looks like he's going to start to work the outside line. The bottom has kind of been the place to be for most of these drivers tonight. We saw a lot of pace being developed on that Larson line way up against the wall, but we don't know really exactly what it does to the tires. There is some fear there that it burns them up a little premature, but with less than 11 laps to go. Maybe it's the way to go right now as Millett has reeled in Matt Sisler in a hurry, working that outside. We'll see if it maintains here for the next 10 laps. So Millett takes the spot, so move the 315 into the top 3. 10 laps to go. Brian McCann got this race still well in hand. The 2.5 lead over the 83 of Brandon Mefford, and then it's 9 full seconds back to Zach Millett. Top 5 all relatively unchallenged right now. The closest battle on the track is Millett and Sisler, and there's not much of one really. Big wiggle on of Zach Millett off of turn number 2, but he still maintains about 3 car lengths over Matt Sisler. 3/10 to be specific. See if the 93 can reel Zach back in. And we wonder how much damage Millett did to his tires working the outside. Albert Anderson in the chat. Awesome job in the booth tonight, Steve. Top shelf, like always. Great on-track racing as well. Albert, thanks, man. I'm hopped up on cold medicine, so I'm trying my best over here. But thanks for checking in, man. We do appreciate it. Strong run last night, man. To be the bearer of bad news for Brian McCann fans. But with that said, deficit back to Brandon Mefford is shrinking. It's 1.3 seconds for now. Coming to 6 laps to go. I don't know if Mefford's got enough time, but the last lap for Mefford was a 31.76. McCann was a 31.87. So over a 10th faster was Mefford that last lap. This time by across the stripe. Half a 10th faster for Brian McCann. These guys are all out of tires, I think, so if we got a caution here late, it would be very interesting. Interestingly enough, more so is that Mefford's tires are 2 laps older than Brian McCann. McCann might be trying to save just a little bit just in case. 5 laps shy from completion here. We've had no cautions for cause here tonight. The guys run a great race. Still 13 cars out on the racetrack. Jesse Redding 2 laps down in 13th, and the 22 of Matt Kopp is 1 lap down in 12th. Kopp would be the lucky dog if the caution were to come out. Brian McCann out here doing his best Aaron Smith impression. Less than 4 laps to go. Dominating performance here tonight for the 3. Millett still running in that 3rd position, but it's not really gaining enough ground to do anything about it. 8.6 seconds back from the top spot. Chris Goins rounding out the top 5. Will Hewitt still in 6th, but for how long will he be able to hold off Mike Tucker? Tucker taking a peek to the inside here at start and finish. Drives it all the way down to the flat of the racetrack. Into turn number 1, Tucker goes low once again, but Will Hewitt trying to take advantage of the outside line, which seems to be the fast place to be. 2.5 laps to go for these two as they continue to fight it out for the 6th position. Big wiggle out of the 39 of Tucker off turn 4. Keeps his foot in it. 2 laps to go. Tucker almost loses it off turn number 2. Does a great job to save it. I don't think he ever lifted. Down into turn number 1, though, Brian McCann, white flag in the air, the final lap for the 3. Didn't take the top spot, but was outside front row. Went quickly to the lead with Drew Prail's incident off turn 2 on lap number 1 and never looked back. Brian McCann's led the most laps here tonight, and he's going to pick up the checkered flag here from Chicagoland. Brian McCann, your race winner. Second place, Brandon Mefford. Zach Millett comes home in the 3rd spot. And it's Matt Sisler, Chris Gones, your top 5. Mike Tucker, a hard-fought P7. Will Hewitt holds him off. Brian McCann celebrating the infield grass here at Chicagoland Speedway. Brian McCann having a blast here on the front stretch. We're going to step aside, get our break out of the way. It should be a short one. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Chicagoland Speedway, race number 10 in the books, and Brian McCann with another checkered flag. Let's see if we can talk to the driver of the number 3. Dominant performance here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. Led the most laps, started outside front row, but takes the checkered flag. Brian McCann and Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
I got you, Steve.
Brian, congratulations, man. A super strong run here tonight. Just missed the pole position, but the real race that matters, well, that's the race itself. Checkered flag going to you in the number 3, man. Walk us through your race and what it took to get it done here. What makes you so fast?
Yeah, I hate it for Drew there in turn 1 and 2. I knew it was probably going to be a little loose on the bottom side, and I was like, well, I'm just going to ride the top here and see what happens. And unfortunately for him, he spun out. He was had a pretty fast car, so I was interested to run him there a little bit. Hate that happened to him, but yeah, races went on, and the dynamic track, I don't know, I haven't really been reading the race notes or anything, but did they disable that? Because it never changed. And the last race I did, it never changed either. It was the same line all night tonight.
Well, not sure if anything changed there, but typically that's stuff that we look at. We saw the sun, it did pop out quite a bit. We expected the track temperature to come up a bit. It sounds like that didn't really happen.
Yeah, no, I tried to venture out of it a couple times and just heard those tires squealing, so I was like, well, I got to get back to the same old line and just stick there. And then it came down to fuel strategy, and I was just going to go ahead and run my tank empty and then come in and get tires. That way I had the freshest set, because this track just eats the tires up. So if I had the newest rubber, hoping if a late race caution came out, maybe would have the best set of tires, but I think maybe Zach probably had 2 laps better than me, so kind of lucky that didn't happen.
Yeah, Millet did come down a few laps after you did, but honestly, I think that might have been his coffin nail, because the amount of track position you were able to chew up while he waited to pit, I think that really was a difference maker. There was about a 10-second gap between the two of you guys by the time he finished his pit stop.
Yeah, but if that caution would have come out, it might have been a little bit different story. We would have been right beside each other battling for it, so that would have been interesting. But yeah, overall great race. I didn't make any mistakes, didn't hit the wall, didn't slide in the pit or anything, so went great for me. Great race. Everybody else around me racing me clean, and just thank you for everything.
Job well done for sure. We move to Charlotte Motor Speedway at our next race, but don't get too excited. It's January 7th. We're going to be well into 2024 by the time we get there, but it's round 1 of the playoffs. Obviously, you're locked in, Brian, for sure. How do you feel about your chances out in Charlotte? I know you kind of like that place.
Yeah, I do. It's one of my favorite tracks, but taking about a month off, I might forget how to drive this car, so we'll have to see how that goes when we come back from the break.
Well, we'll see what happens for sure. Brian, again, congratulations. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
My family, you for doing the broadcast, league admins for putting the show on, sponsors for making it all happen, and the drivers and viewers coming out tonight. Thank you.
All right, Brian. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Brian McCann, your race winner here from Chicagoland Speedway. We're going to talk to the 83 of Brandon Mefford here next, and it seems like the more the season goes on, the faster the 83 gets. The second place finish, Brandon Mefford and Steve in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Brandon, congratulations. I know it seems that we get frustrated here trying to keep up with Brian McCann. A second place finish, certainly nothing to shake a stick at, but what is it going to take to knock the 3 off his pedestal?
Yeah, someone's going to have to take his golden horseshoe that he stole from Aaron Smith.
I mean, if you could recruit Aaron Smith to run the rest of the season, it might make it real interesting.
That'd give me a chance to finish third, I guess.
Well, either way, a strong run here. Finish second. Let's walk us through your race, your strategies coming into tonight. Did anything change, or did you kind of stick with your gut throughout every lap?
Yeah, just, I wasn't really saving fuel or anything, so I was going to run hard, hoping that Brian or somebody made a mistake and gave me the lead. So I ran out of fuel there a lap before Brian did. Came out in front of him and thought that was going to win me the race. But he came out just so hot on them new tires and full of fuel, and it took me about 20 laps in a run for my car to come into where I was good. So Brian already stretched it out to 2 seconds there, and I just had to settle in and finish second.
Well, second place certainly not too shabby. Looks good still in the points. Going into next race, which is about a few weeks out here, Charlotte Motor Speedway on the 7th of January. Some guys really like that place. Some guys maybe not, but what's your take on it?
It's a track I like. I don't love it. It's really loose up off the corners on both ends. So, we're going to have to save tires but be fast. And much like tonight, momentum's going to be key, and that's what Brian's really, really good at, is keeping his momentum up and saving his tires for the long run. So he's going to be the guy to beat again. Of course, not to shake a stick at Zach. Zach's pretty good, so I think that's going to be a good track for both of those guys.
Well, Brandon, tonight was seemingly a good track for all of you guys into that top 3. We'll see if that continues on into Charlotte. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you get out of here?
Yeah, I want to shout out to everybody over here at the Noble Racing Series. We've had a really fun season. I finished second a whole bunch to Brian, but it's been a blast. Everybody's raced pretty clean. So that's a testament to all the guys out there in the Noble Series. So thanks to them. Thanks to all the admins and all the sponsors that help put the show on. Takes a lot behind the scenes and a lot of time. So thank you to those guys. Thanks to you for the broadcast. Everybody out in the stream ought to go give HBR TV a like, thumbs up, whatever that is, on Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff. And then my Charity Motorsports teammates, Zoe's Place, my family, and everybody out there in the stream chatting it up and having a good time.
All right, Brandon. Well, again, nice job here at Chicagoland. Congratulations. Wishing the best of luck. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll talk to you in 2024.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Steve. Have a good one.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at Chicagoland Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 315 of Zach Millett. This is one of the few races I don't think we've seen him lead a lap this season, but nonetheless, a top 3 finish for the 315. Zach, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, a top 3 finish. What is it about this place? Did that much really change with these cars, or is the competition just starting to get caught up to Zach Millett? Because usually you're awfully fast at these 1.5 miles, and this didn't come to fruition. We're going to ask about pit strategy, but we'll let you talk first.
Oh, I'm getting slower, Steve, no doubt about it. Everybody else is getting faster, I'm getting slower. But no, these cars are just a whole different beast, man. You know, I think Brian mentioned it last week. He said it best. You not only got to take care of the right front, but you got to take care of that right rear too. And it's a weird balance. I mean, if you come down pit road after running, the right front and right rear are pretty equal. You did a pretty darn good job. But yeah, I don't know. After the first stint, I kind of just wanted to save and roll the dice a little bit and see if we could have the newest tires later than anybody else. And if a caution came out, we'd be sitting pretty. And if not, I think we have enough time to catch back up to about the 4th or 3rd place where I think we'd finish anyway. So I don't know. It was kind of a fail-safe plan, I guess.
We know how good you are getting into and out of pit lane. There's usually a lot of track position to be gained in that exchange. But given that you stayed on the racetrack, I think it was 3 or 4 more laps than the then race leader, Brian McCann. And as much as the tires do fall off at a place like Chicagoland, you gave up a lot of time, a lot of track position by waiting and waiting and waiting. What was the mindset? What was the benefit, at least in your eyes, to wait that much longer, knowing that he had already short pit or undercut you in that instance?
Basically, it was the gap between basically second and third place anyway. Seemed like after a run there was a huge gap there anyway. So I knew I could give up some time and kind of keep the same track position. Even though you're kind of a little further back, it was enough time to get back to where I wanted to be. And like I said, if a caution came out, we would have been sitting pretty.
Caution didn't come out. We only had the one for the stage break, so the plan didn't come together, but still a solid top 3 for Zach Millett. Next race, it's still a few weeks out after the new year. We're going to be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't know if you've got your schedules all lined up for that yet or not, but I know you like Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte's pretty fun, man, especially in these cars. It's going to be a handful, and we're going to put the practice in and see if we can hang with the IROC boys and give it hell.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck, Zach. Again, congratulations on a strong run here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I got to thank you, Steve, and HBR TV for the broadcast, as always. Subscribe and hit that like button. Big congrats on hitting 700, too, man. That's huge.
705 now.
705, jeez. See? Keep it up, folks. Keep it up. HBRTV1.com, HBRShops.com, Track Bar Media. Hit up Brian Rose for any kind of advertising or media needs. Noble, all the guys behind Noble, the admins, Right Turn Racing guys, the newly added HBR guys. It's cool to have everybody on the same team, and it's a lot of fun every week to race. And got to thank Beatles Custom Car Carriers on Facebook, Castle Packs Power, Eric Dotson State Farm, all my teammates over at HBR. Again, it's great to race with those guys. Big thanks to everybody out there watching the YouTube stream on the iRacing community. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch and YouTube at That Is 4 Guy.
All right, Zach. Well, thanks for talking to us. Job well done once again, and hopefully we'll see you coming up here in a few weeks at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And again, as I said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If we don't talk, I'm sure we will. But nonetheless, we said it. It's official. Everybody else heard it.
Call you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. Zach Millett, your third place finisher here from Chicagoland Speedway. Let's take a look, of course, at our race results before we go too deep into the weeds. Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Zach Millett, your top three. Matt Sisler was fourth. Chris Goins, fifth. Will Hewitt, strong, solid finish in P6. Michael Tucker was seventh. Drew Prale finished in the 8th spot. Mark Truxell was 9th. Doug Wysocki, 10th. Keaton Burnett was 11th. Matt Kopp finished in the 12th spot. Jesse Redding was 13th. Joe Tucker was 14th. Eric Beadle, 15th. And last but not least, 34 laps down, was the 15 of Vincent Short. Got a short field here tonight, but either way, a solid race. No cautions, no drama. Nice and smooth rolling into the holidays. Thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. Obviously, make sure you join us in a couple of weeks, a few weeks that is, on the 7th of January, Charlotte Motor Speedway here at HBR TV. Coming at you guys. Still on the same broadcast platform. It'll be race number 1 of our playoffs. So make sure you tune in for it. Again, thank you guys all for being here tonight. We'll see you at the next one. Have a good night.